Corey asks, has the Colts defense improved to the point that Bortles won't look like an all-pro against them?
Already getting the Jaguars questions a week early. Bortles has looked like an all-pro against the Colts, and you would hope that, given how Jacksonville's looked offensively this year, that does not happen again. And sounds like maybe Jacksonville's on their bye week this week, coming off London.
Yep.
They could get Leonard Fournette back for that game. So, and then of course, who's coming back to Lucas Oil Stadium?
Jalen Ramsey.
Well, who's coming back? Dante Moncrief.
Oh, okay.
The revenge game for Dante Moncrief. So there are a couple sneaky storylines in that game, like you mentioned. The Jalen Ramsey one, definitely. But, yeah, we will see if Jacksonville's offense can find something, because they have not found it through the first 8 games.
Stan Cal is wondering, when did Marlon Mack decide to become a solid between the tackles runner? Did you see any hint of that during the offseason, or have you been as pleasantly surprised as the rest of us?
Well, we didn't get a lot of looks at Marlon Mack during the offseason. I will say, when he was healthy that early part of camp, because he hurt the hamstring the preseason opener that Thursday night out in Seattle, we did see a little bit more of a physical nature, just a kind of a willingness. I think there was one day maybe in camp where he didn't go through running back drills like with that left shoulder, which he had hurt last year, and I was kind of like, that's not something you want to see. But then after that, it was like he showed no ill effects of being afraid of that shoulder. I would probably be, or I probably expected maybe a little bit of kind of hesitancy, or just maybe not have the willingness. But I think we have seen that out of him, certainly here in the regular season. And late last year, I thought we saw a few more of those plays where he was just kind of like, all right, I got to go between the tackles. I know we saw the stiff arm late in the year on Clowney, and that was a play that he bounced to the outside.
Yeah.
But when you look at Marlon Mack, he's got a nice frame. He's not Nyheim Hines size, but I thought we saw a few flashes, but you're always curious, okay, what is that running back going to look like when it's real? And I'm sure some of these holes that he's running through right now, a lot of people would be willing to put their head down and go between the tackles.
Cedric wants to flip over to the defensive side of the ball and asks, who will be the Colts cornerback 1 at the end of the season?
Well, it's a good question, Cedric, with Nate Hairston being benched. I assume it'll still be Kenny Moore. I didn't notice Moore having too many issues on Sunday. But yeah, I just, maybe right now we see Moore and we see Desir, and maybe during the bye week you self-scout and you think, okay, should Nate Hairston go back to being that slot corner? Leave Kenny Moore outside, or is, Kenny a guy that you still want to keep as that nickel corner when you do bring that personnel grouping on the field? But I would stick with Kenny Moore for now. But you know what? This benching of Hairston, if it happens, it again opens another door for Quincy Wilson.
Nate Benter sticks on the defensive side of the ball and asks, how many years away is the defense from being a top 15 unit? Or do the Colts use the draft and free agency to fix it next year? There's some nice pieces, but lots of holes.
There are, definitely. I agree with everything that Nate just said there. What are they now? They're probably like 23, 24. I could probably look that up. Joey, I think you could make that jump to top 15 next year.
Colts are 25th.
Wow. So, yeah, I do think they could make that jump, but it's going to take some major reinforcements draft-wise, and I think free agency as well. I mean, you're going to need, it's saying you need a Darius Leonard impact in 2019 is probably setting the bar a little bit too high, but, let's say the Colts are drafting top 15. You need that guy to come in here and really be an impactful player for you, and I'm assuming that player will be in the defensive front 7. Maybe corner, I guess you could go that route as well, but they need that to happen early on. So I would probably feel more comfortable about saying maybe 2 years away, but, it's a question I could probably better answer come May.
Daryl Smith asks, why isn't Nyheim Hines not getting the love he deserves? His role has increased, and he's been running with a chip on his shoulder. Well,
Daryl, have you been listening to the pod?
He's getting plenty here, my man.
This is the place for the Nyheim Hines love. In all seriousness, Joey, how about the bounce back that Hines has had?
Yep.
And that preseason was
rough.
We were getting questions about should they cut Nyheim Hines, and they weren't that ludicrous of questions.
Like if they would have cut him, you would have been like, yeah.
I would have disagreed with it, definitely, but I would have been like, okay, like I guess you got to kind of put your money where your mouth is a little bit and stick to your guns. Although, we can get into the John Simon debate for another day. I shouldn't have even said that. Why do I keep on bringing that up? But with Hines, I thought what stood out to me, Joey, on Sunday was it was, again, that natural tailback in him that he provided you a jolt to that run game there in the second quarter and I think a little bit into the third, and that was huge. Nyheim Hines has had a really nice rookie season. Really nice. And you've needed that role. And with the Marlon Mack injuries and the receiver position not being what you've needed it to be, Hines' presence has been even more important than you could have ever imagined.